Good morning, guys. Today we're going to be doing, I just hit my hand, the oil change on a Mazda CX5 2017. I have the 0W20. We're going to also be doing the air filter, and then here is the oil filter. So let's get started. All right, guys. So for the air filter, it has two clips. You see one there, another one there. Pretty simple. You just use your thumb, pop those right off, go towards the front of the car, and it comes up. However, if you do your 360 all the way around as you should with removing anything, you'll notice that there's these clips that'll prevent it from pulling straight up. Here you see it right there. You literally have to slide that forward so it comes off. Again, I recommend you always do a 360 when you're removing something. You don't want to just yank something off, then you break the clips, and it's just bad news. As you see there, it came up pretty easy as I shifted it forward, popped it up. Now I'll just change out the fuel filter, or I'm sorry, the air filter. Pretty simple process as I speed it up. This one wasn't too bad. There is a lot of solid stuff in there. Pop the new one out. Always make sure you do a side by side, top and bottom. I understand you want to trust the AutoZone or the O'Reilly's or the Napa Auto Parts, but mistakes do happen. So I always just do this as a precaution. And I feel like a lot of people would tell you to do the same thing. Always make sure everything lines up, bolts are where they go, if it's apart, so on and so forth. So again, don't always trust what you get from the auto parts store. From there, should be relatively easy. As soon as you put the back clips, slide them through. You just put your thumb up and all set. So I do a lot of projects and I like to keep things simple. So I put a orange dot on everything that I need for me to change out the oil. It just simplifies things for me, so I'm not pulling 2 to 3 wrenches out. I know exactly if I'm doing an oil change for the Mazda, everything in orange gets pulled out. From here, I'm just going to jack up the tire. I'm sorry, loosen up the lug nuts, not completely removing them, just loosening them up. And then I'll go ahead and grab my 3-ton jack. Make sure you guys put your stops in. I use these dumbbells, makes it easy. Pull the 3-ton out. There is lifting points on the vehicle. Make sure you guys refer to the owner's manual. I am doing it the opposite way. I'm not exactly sure what this part is called. Again, not a mechanic, but this is where you should place the jack stand. But I decided to lift it up from that specific spot, and then I am going to put the jack stand where they originally told me to jack it up from. Again, just a preference. Always use jack stands. Do not trust the jack. As you see there, I figured it out. Just lift it up enough for the tire to come up, put the jack stand on, and then from there, I am ready to go ahead and loosen up the lug nuts. Just keep in mind that the tire does shift, as you see multiple times when I'm taking it off, and to include when I'm putting it back on. That may make it stubborn, as you see there. Just start taking them off by hand. If they're stubborn, you see as I shift the tire there, that one didn't want to come off, so I focused on one and then just strained out the tire and then completely removed it. Keep in mind that if there's enough pressure on the rim and you decide to use a torque wrench, you could potentially mess those threads up. So just keep that in mind. Get the tire out of the way. After I get the tire out of the way, there you see the plate that we must remove. It has 2 screw-ons and then 2 push knobs. I'm not exactly sure what you call them. I think there was a 10 millimeter, or no, I'm sorry, like an 8 millimeter. Comes right off. I'll explain these push knobs at the end of the video, but all you gotta do is grab a flathead screwdriver, prop them off. Do not force them off. These are very easy to break, especially if they've been on the vehicle for a while. There you go. It slides back off. Get that out of the way. There's your oil drain plug and your oil. I put everything near my jack. It's just simple for me to find. I grab my materials. Don't want to make a mess. As you see there, unscrew that. So all the oil just drains into there. I really should get an open container for this, but again, I don't know. From here, I remove the oil fill and the dipstick. That will prevent it from getting oil stuck. Or I'm sorry, because there's oil at the bottom. So what you want to prevent is oil getting um, not enough air. I don't know the scientific term for it, but here you see me grab my tools. I already grabbed my tools for the oil. Um, as I'm doing that, it's pretty simple. I'll explain the oil filter. That wrench and that oil filter fitting wrench did not fit on that oil filter. So just keep that in mind, guys. If it's a different brand of oil filter, that oil filter one, the oil filter cap that I have to unscrew it works perfectly for the mobile one. This one was an STP, so it is slightly smaller. So just keep that in mind. I was able to muscle it out, but I'll explain this. This does have a crush washer, as you see there. Make sure you remove the old one, get a new one. I just went to Mazda. They actually just handed me like 10 of them, but there's a part number. Make sure you switch this out, put the new crush washer in, and then that way I don't need to worry about it later because it's already ready to go. From there, as you see, like I mentioned, things weren't working out for me. I was getting frustrated. I ended up jacking the car up more. That didn't fit, and just muscling it through. Again, that's not always going to be the case since I do use STP because of the simple fact that sometimes they do run specials. I am going to go ahead and get the wrench for that specific filter next time I do this oil change. Make sure that ring, that red ring I just showed, and I'll explain it with the new one, comes off. Um, it's very, very, if you do not do what I'm about to do here, it's very simple for it to stay on there. And then you want to be careful when removing these aluminum, this aluminum like cap that they have. You don't want any of those pieces falling inside the oil. From there, stick your finger in there, and that's lubing it up. So when it does heat up, it doesn't become an adhesive and fixes itself onto your motor. So that's the reason that you do that. I like to do this to prevent dry start. I don't know if it's good or bad, but the filter in there is made out of a certain material that will absorb the oil. As you can see there, I almost overfilled it, and then it just kind of started drilling or settling in. From there, just tighten it down. Make sure it's hand tight all the way through. Make sure you do not force this through, guys. You saw me back off because I wasn't getting the threads right. Be patient. There you see, hand tight. And then from there, go on to the oil drain plug. Start sliding that through. Very simple. Now there is a torque spec. I'll look it up. I've been doing mine for a long time, and I trust my judgment. I get it on there pretty snug, and then I simply just go another quarter turn, and I'm pretty comfortable with that. But I will try and find a torque spec and put that up here. From there, clean everything up, nice and neat. That's just how I am. And next, it's time to fill her up. Make sure dipstick's out. Or actually, I think I did this to make sure it's completely dry. It's completely dry. Go here, put all that down. Pretty simple. Make sure your funnel is sitting appropriately. You don't want all that oil going all over your engine block. White smoke gets hot. Not fun. From here, this should take the entire thing. There you see the lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think this takes 4.8 something. I may be wrong with that. I'll look that up and I'll post it on a text. From there, all you're going to have to do is just keep checking it. I end up putting it all the way down. Becomes shy a little bit. Let it settle. It shouldn't take more than like 5 minutes for it to settle. So I decided to go ahead and pour all of it in. Should be fine. 5 quarts, and then the mistake that I made is that it's still jacked up, so it's not settling 100%. I try to lower it down and then check it again, as you see there, but I was still getting a reading that was not good, so or inaccurate reading. From there, I came back, set it up, and then I just decided to wait to check it again when the vehicle is all the way back down. Now I pull everything out, and a good way to measure if you're actually burning a lot of oil is use the old container. I know a lot of people do this. Put the oil filter away, same box, and then you just pour that over onto your old container. If you don't have shop towels, these things work amazing. They look like they've been used up a lot, um, by which I means it looks dirty, but it could actually absorb a lot more. So you just keep running through some of the containers or whatever it is you're cleaning, and here you see the side of that container filling up. So if I want to get a reading, if it's burning half a quart or a full quart, I would just look at the side of that container. Now keep in mind that if you spill any on the deck or on the little catch pan that I have, you have to take that into consideration. If it's a significant amount, you're not going to get an accurate reading if that, for whatever reason, shifted while you were draining that oil drain plug. But then I just clean all my tools. So here is the push knob that I wanted to explain. I'm not exactly sure that's the terminology, but if you see if the knob's pushed in, there's no way that those uh, claw-like things come out, so you have to pull the knob out. And as you see there, you're able to compact them in order for them to get through the fitting there. After you get it through the fitting, you push the knob in and it's impossible to get out. I mean, I'm sure if you force it out, you can break it and just put a new one in, pull the knob out. Super simple. Have the patience to do so and you'll be fine. Here, I decided since I'm already doing this, I'm going to go ahead and rotate the tires. As you see the diagram up there, fronts go to front, and then the front ones get crossed over to the opposite side. After that, put the lug nuts on. Keep in mind, same thing, same rules apply. The tire shifts, so make sure that you don't muscle the lug nuts in. Make sure that you shift the tire a little bit left and right, up and down, diagonally, horizontally, whatever. Um, that way, it does not create, or so you don't mess those threads up while you're doing so. Here it is, pretty simple. You see me doing it a couple of times. From there, come back, just tighten them up just enough to get them against that plate in the back evenly. And then from there, you're just simply gonna drop the jack, as you see me doing there. Get all my tools out of the way. Drop it nice and slow, and then I'm going to continue to tighten down those lug nuts to, I believe the specifications were 90 to 118 per the manual. There you see me being silly. If you don't know, you could move around the 3-ton easily like that. However, here you see me doing the star pattern. I did 89 foot-pounds, and then I went back and give it another, maybe a little less than a quarter turn. There you see me checking one last time, checking my oil level. I'm pretty satisfied. I'm not going to buy a whole quart of oil. I do mine pretty religiously, so I think it'll be all right. From there, tighten everything down, make sure everything's where it's supposed to be, and then jump in the vehicle, and then we're going to go ahead and turn it on. Once we turn on, you see the yellow wrench, meaning that it is requiring maintenance, but I just go over to the screen, use the hand dial, go over the apps. From applications, I go to the maintenance or vehicle status monitor, go into maintenance, tire rotation, reset, and then it'll take me back to 5,000 miles. I might switch that to 6, but then I go down to my oil change. It's reset, lights gone. Now let's go inspect to make sure that nothing is out of the ordinary. Always double check, triple check, make sure that. So there you have it, folks. I did everything. It takes me a little longer just because I am recording, but normally this probably takes me like an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes. That's pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you learned something, and if not, I'll see you next time anyway.